Anastasia's world shattered the day her mother burst into the cozy living room of her grandmother's house in suburban Chicago, her face twisted in rage. "You're disgusting," her mother hissed, grabbing Anastasia's arm with bruising force, yanking her away from the elderly woman who had just wrapped her in a comforting hug after Anastasia confessed her love for Andrea. As tears streamed down Anastasia's face, she glanced back at her grandmother, whose eyes held a mix of sorrow and quiet defiance, knowing this might be the last time they saw each other alive. The drive home was a silent storm. Anastasia sat in the passenger seat, her mind reeling from the betrayal. How could her own mother, the woman who had raised her with Bible verses in Sunday school, turn so vicious upon learning about her daughter's orientation? "You're not my daughter anymore if you choose this path," her mother had spat earlier, the words echoing like a death sentence. Anastasia's thoughts spiraled inward. Was loving Andrea really a sin worth this exile? She had met Andrea in college, their connection igniting during late-night study sessions that turned into whispered confessions of dreams and fears. Andrea, with her sharp wit and gentle strength, had become Anastasia's anchor in a world that felt increasingly hostile. But now that anchor was being severed by familial ties that bound too tightly. Arriving at their upscale home in Evanston, her mother slammed the car door and marched inside, leaving Anastasia to follow like a prisoner. "Pack your things, you're not going back to that enabler," her mother commanded, referring to Grandma Eleanor as if she were a criminal. Anastasia's heart pounded with a mix of anger and despair. Why did her grandmother's acceptance threaten her mother so much? Eleanor had listened without judgment, her wrinkled hands holding Anastasia's as she shared stories of her own youthful rebellions against societal norms. "Love is love, dear," Eleanor had said softly, a phrase that now felt like a lifeline slipping away. That night, Anastasia lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her phone hidden under the pillow vibrating with messages from Andrea. "Are you okay? I love you," one read. But replying felt dangerous under her mother's watchful eye. The internal conflict tore at her. Should she fight for her truth or bow to the pressure of a family that demanded conformity? Her mother's conservative values, rooted in a strict religious upbringing, clashed violently with Anastasia's emerging identity. She remembered family dinners where homosexuality was dismissed as a phase or worse, a moral failing. Now she was the embodiment of that fear. The next morning brought no relief. Her mother announced they were cutting off all contact with Eleanor. "She's poisoning your mind," she declared over breakfast, her voice laced with finality. Anastasia's stomach churned. Eleanor was her only ally, the one who had secretly encouraged her to pursue art school instead of the business degree her parents pushed. Andrea, too, was from a more accepting background, her parents liberal academics who had welcomed Anastasia into their home. The contrast fueled Anastasia's resentment. Why couldn't her family see the beauty in her relationship? Days blurred into weeks of isolation. Anastasia's mother monitored her every move, confiscating her phone and restricting her outings. "This is for your own good," she insisted. Enrolling Anastasia in church counseling sessions meant to cure her. The sessions were torturous, the counselor preaching about redemption through denial. Anastasia sat there, nodding mechanically, but inside rage simmered. How could love be something to cure? Her thoughts drifted to Andrea, wondering if she was suffering too. They had planned a future together, graduation, moving in, building a life free from judgment. Now that dream felt crushed under the weight of familial duty. One evening, as her mother attended a church meeting, Anastasia snuck out to a nearby park, the same one where she and Andrea had shared their first kiss under blooming cherry trees. She sat on a bench, tears flowing freely. The internal monologue was relentless. "Am I wrong for wanting this? Is the pain worth the fight?" Memories flooded her. Andrea's laughter echoing in dorm rooms, stolen moments of affection that made her feel alive. But the societal whispers haunted her. The stares from classmates, the news stories of rejected queer youth. She knew the statistics. Rejection led to higher rates of depression, yet her mother seemed blind to it. Returning home, she found her mother waiting, arms crossed. "Where were you?" The confrontation escalated quickly. "I can't live like this," Anastasia shouted, her voice breaking. "You can't control who I love." Her mother's response was a slap across the face, metaphorical in its sting. "Then leave," she said coldly. But Anastasia couldn't. She was financially dependent, trapped in a web of obligation and fear. That night, she cried herself to sleep, dreaming of Eleanor's warm embrace. Months passed in this stifling limbo. Anastasia threw herself into her studies, using art as an outlet for her turmoil. Her paintings became darker, reflecting the internal storm. Andrea reached out through mutual friends, their messages a secret lifeline. "I miss you," Andrea wrote. "We'll get through this." But doubt crept in. Was their love strong enough to withstand this divide? Then the call came. It was from Eleanor's lawyer. "Your grandmother passed away last night," he said solemnly. Anastasia's world tilted again. Grief hit like a wave, but beneath it, a spark of something else, curiosity about the will. Her mother, upon hearing, showed no remorse. "She brought this on herself," she muttered. But Anastasia felt a pull. A need to honor the woman who had loved her unconditionally. The funeral was tense. Anastasia attended against her mother's wishes, slipping away early. There, she saw familiar faces, but Andrea was absent, respecting the boundaries Anastasia had set to avoid more drama. Eleanor's casket was simple, adorned with flowers from her garden. As the service ended, the lawyer approached. "There's something you need to know about the will." Anastasia's heart raced. What could it be? The lawyer handed her a letter, sealed with Eleanor's handwriting. "Read it in private," he advised. Back home, hidden in her room, she opened it. "My dear Anna," it began. "If you're reading this, I'm gone, but my love remains. I've left you everything, the house, the savings, but with a condition." The condition stunned her. She must live in the house for a year, and invite Andrea to join her if she wished. Eleanor had known about their relationship in detail, it seemed. "Face your truth," the letter urged. "Don't let fear win." Tears blurred the words. This was Eleanor's final act of defiance, a bridge across the chasm her mother had created. Confronting her mother that evening was inevitable. "I'm moving into Grandma's house," Anastasia declared. Her mother's eyes widened in shock. "You can't. That's my mother's estate." But the will was ironclad, favoring Anastasia as the sole heir. A deliberate snub to her daughter's oppressor. The argument raged. "She did this to spite me," her mother accused. Anastasia stood firm for the first time. "No, she did it to save me." The words hung heavy, marking the beginning of a deeper rift. As Anastasia packed her bags, her mind buzzed with possibilities and fears. What if Andrea had moved on? What price would this independence cost? Moving day arrived under gray skies, but Anastasia felt a glimmer of hope. The house welcomed her like an old friend, filled with Eleanor's essence. Books on shelves, photos on walls. She wandered the rooms, memories surfacing. In the kitchen she found a hidden note. "Love bravely, Anna." Calling Andrea was terrifying. "I have news," she said, voice trembling. Andrea's response was immediate. "I'm coming over." Their reunion was emotional, hugs turning into sobs. "I thought I'd lost you," Andrea whispered. But as they talked, old wounds reopened. Andrea had suffered too, questioning if their love was worth the pain. Settling in, they navigated the condition together. The house became their sanctuary, but external pressures loomed. Neighbors whispered. Her mother called relentlessly, demanding reconciliation on her terms. Anastasia's internal struggle intensified. Was claiming this inheritance a betrayal of family, or a step toward authenticity? As weeks turned into months in Eleanor's house, Anastasia and Andrea rebuilt their relationship brick by brick, but the foundation felt shaky under the weight of unresolved tensions. Anastasia often woke in the night, her mind racing with doubts. Had she chosen love over family too hastily? Andrea, sensing her turmoil, would hold her close, but even that comfort sparked guilt. "We're safe here," Andrea murmured one evening as they sat on the porch, watching the sunset paint the neighborhood in golden hues. Yet Anastasia couldn't shake the feeling that this peace was borrowed. A temporary reprieve from the storm her mother brewed. Her mother's calls became more frequent, laced with manipulation. "Come home, Anna. We can fix this," she'd plead, her voice cracking just enough to tug at Anastasia's heartstrings. But beneath the pleas lay ultimatums. "If you stay with her, you're dead to me." Anastasia hung up each time, tears stinging, questioning her resolve. Was blood thicker than love? Society's narrative said yes, but Eleanor's will screamed otherwise. The inheritance wasn't just financial, it was a moral compass pointing toward self-acceptance. Andrea, too, carried her burdens. Her family, though supportive, worried about the backlash. "Are you sure this is worth it?" her mother had asked during a visit. Andrea defended their choice fiercely, but privately, she confessed to Anastasia. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm dragging you down." Their conversations grew tense, revealing cracks. One night, over dinner, Andrea snapped, "You keep pulling away. Do you even want this anymore?" Anastasia's response was defensive. "Of course I do, but it's not that simple." The argument escalated, words like weapons, exposing fears of abandonment. The societal pressure amplified everything. At work, Anastasia, now a graphic designer in downtown Chicago, faced subtle discrimination. Colleagues' sideways glances when she mentioned Andrea, or the HR email about family-friendly events that assumed heteronormativity. She internalized it all. "Am I flaunting my difference? Should I hide to survive?" Andrea, a teacher, dealt with parents' complaints after a student outed their relationship. "It's unprofessional," one email read. The stress mounted, leading to more fights. Then came the betrayal that nearly broke them. Anastasia's mother, desperate, contacted Andrea directly. "Leave my daughter alone," she demanded in a voicemail Andrea played for Anastasia. "You're ruining her life." Andrea deleted it without responding, but the seed of doubt was planted. "Maybe she's right," Andrea admitted one rainy afternoon. Anastasia felt a stab of pain. "How can you say that?" The ensuing silence was deafening, both retreating into their thoughts. Anastasia's internal world became a battlefield. She journaled obsessively, pouring out her conflicts. The joy of waking beside Andrea clashed with the ache of her mother's rejection. Eleanor's letter, reread countless times, urged courage, but courage came at a cost. Friends divided. Some celebrated their reunion, others sided with family values. A close friend, Sarah, pulled away. "Blood is blood, Anna." The isolation deepened. Seeking solace, Anastasia visited Eleanor's grave, the cemetery quiet under autumn leaves. "Did you know it would hurt this much?" she whispered to the headstone. Memories of childhood summers with Eleanor flooded back, baking cookies, sharing stories of women's rights marches. Eleanor had been a quiet rebel, widowed young and independent. Her will was her legacy, forcing Anastasia to choose. Back home, Andrea waited with a surprise. Tickets to a queer film festival. "Let's reclaim our story," she said. The gesture touched Anastasia, but tension lingered. At the festival, surrounded by accepting crowds, they held hands freely for the first time in public. It was liberating, yet Anastasia scanned for judgmental eyes, her paranoia a remnant of her upbringing. The high didn't last. Her mother escalated, showing up unannounced. "This ends now," she declared, storming into the living room. Anastasia froze, Andrea stepping protectively forward. "You need to leave," Andrea said firmly. The confrontation was explosive. Her mother hurled accusations. "You're brainwashing her. This isn't natural." Anastasia's voice shook as she defended. "It's who I am, Mom. Why can't you accept that?" The argument unearthed deep-seated issues. Her mother confessed her own fears. Raised in an era where difference meant danger, she saw Anastasia's choice as a path to suffering. "I want to protect you," she sobbed. For a moment, Anastasia softened. Was her mother's hatred born of love twisted by ignorance? But the damage was done. Words couldn't erase years of conditional affection. After her mother left, defeated but unyielding, Anastasia and Andrea collapsed in exhaustion. "We can't keep doing this," Andrea said. Anastasia agreed, but solutions evaded them. Therapy was suggested, but pride held them back. Instead, they leaned on each other, vowing to fight. Yet doubt festered. Anastasia began questioning the will's condition. Was living here forcing a happiness that wasn't real? She confided in a support group for queer adults, hearing stories of similar struggles. One woman's tale of reconciliation inspired hope. Another of permanent estrangement warned of reality. Andrea faced her own crisis when a job offer came from New York. Better pay, more acceptance. We could start fresh, she proposed. Anastasia panicked. Leave Eleanor's house? Break the will. The decision loomed, a moral quandary. Accepting meant freedom, but felt like betraying her grandmother's wishes. Declining risked losing Andrea. Nights were sleepless, internal debates raging. What if this is my chance to escape the drama? Anastasia thought. But Andrea's eyes, filled with love and fear, pulled her back. They argued again, voices rising. You're choosing a dead woman's ghost over us, Andrea accused. Anastasia recoiled. It's not that simple. The climax came during a storm, power out, candles flickering. They talked honestly, vulnerabilities exposed. I'm scared of losing you, Anastasia admitted. Andrea nodded. Me too. But we have to choose each other, not out of obligation. They decided Andrea would turn down the offer, committing to Chicago, and to therapy. Peace settled tentatively. Anastasia reached out to her mother, a olive branch email. I love you but I need space. No reply came, but the act freed something in her. Society's judgments faded slightly as they built a community of allies. But whispers of unrest remained. A cousin, aligned with her mother, spread rumors online, outing them further. The backlash was swift, harassing messages, doxing threats. Anastasia's resolve hardened. This was the price of authenticity. As the year mark approached, fulfilling the will's condition, Anastasia reflected. Had the inheritance healed or heightened the wounds? Andrea, by her side, provided the answer in quiet moments. Their love, tested, emerged stronger. Yet the external world pressed on. A family gathering loomed, her mother's birthday. Attend or abstain. The choice symbolized everything. The balance between forgiveness and self-preservation. The invitation to her mother's birthday arrived like a grenade in the mailbox, pristine envelope hiding explosive potential. Anastasia stared at it, heart pounding. Go and face the firing squad, or stay away and cement the divide. Andrea, reading over her shoulder, sighed. It's your call, but remember what she did. The internal tug-of-war intensified. Family loyalty clashed with self-respect, a moral maze with no clear exit. Days later, Anastasia decided to attend, driven by a flicker of hope for reconciliation. Maybe seeing us together will change her, she told Andrea, who agreed reluctantly. The drive to her parents' home was fraught with silence, each mile amplifying anxiety. Anastasia's thoughts swirled. What if this is a trap? Am I betraying Eleanor by seeking approval from her oppressor? The party was a facade of normalcy, balloons, cake, relatives chatting politely. Her mother greeted her stiffly, eyes flicking to Andrea with disdain. You brought her, she muttered. Anastasia stood tall. She's my partner. Whispers rippled through the room, aunts and uncles exchanging glances. The tension was palpable, a powder keg waiting for a spark. During dinner, the spark ignited. An uncle, emboldened by wine, joked about traditional values. Andrea bristled, but Anastasia interjected. Love isn't traditional or modern, it's human. The table fell silent, her mother's face reddening. Not in this house, she snapped. The argument erupted, voices overlapping in accusation and defense. You've shamed us all, her mother cried. Anastasia's response was measured but firm. The shame is yours for rejecting me. Andrea supported silently at first, then spoke up. Anastasia deserves better. The room polarized. Some relatives nodded subtly, others scoffed. Her father, usually passive, tried mediating. Let's calm down. But the damage cascaded. Hurtful words about lifestyle choices and eternal consequences. Anastasia felt exposed, her identity dissected like a specimen. Leaving early, they drove home in tears. Was it worth it? Andrea asked. Anastasia shook her head. I don't know. The night replayed in her mind, questioning every decision. Had confronting them empowered or exhausted her? The societal mirror reflected harshly. Families like hers perpetuated cycles of pain, yet breaking free felt like orphaning herself. Therapy began the next week, a neutral space to unpack the layers. The counselor probed gently. What do you owe your family? Anastasia pondered. Blood bound her, but toxicity threatened to drown her. Sessions revealed patterns. Her mother's own unaddressed traumas, perhaps a closeted relative in the past. Empathy emerged, but boundaries solidified. Andrea's sessions paralleled, addressing her resentment toward Anastasia's family. They almost broke us, she confessed. Together, they rebuilt trust, small acts like cooking meals or walking hand in hand defying the world. But betrayal struck again, this time from within their circle. A mutual friend, Jake, outed their struggles on social media, framing it as concern. The post went viral in their community, drawing trolls and supporters alike. Anastasia's inbox flooded with hate. Go back to the closet. The violation stung deeply. Who could they trust? Andrea raged. We need to sue or something. But Anastasia, weary, opted for privacy. Internally, she battled paranoia. Was every kindness a potential knife? The incident forced a reevaluation. Perhaps isolation was safer, but at what cost to their mental health? As winter set in, the house felt colder. Eleanor's presence a ghost urging perseverance. Anastasia discovered old letters in the attic. Eleanor writing to a long-lost friend about her own forbidden love in the 1950s. I chose safety over passion, Eleanor lamented. The revelation hit hard. Her grandmother had sacrificed for conformity, now gifting Anastasia the chance to choose differently. Sharing with Andrea, they cried together. She wanted better for you, Andrea said. The insight fueled resolve, but external forces persisted. Her mother's lawyer contested the will, claiming undue influence. Eleanor wasn't in her right mind, the suit alleged. Anastasia's anger flared. This was war. Court dates loomed, a public spectacle. Testimonies exposed family secrets. Her mother's homophobia rooted in religious fervor, Eleanor's quiet activism. Anastasia took the stand, voice steady. Grandma knew me, loved me as I am. The judge ruled in her favor, but victory tasted bitter. Media coverage amplified their story, turning private pain into public debate. Post-trial, Anastasia faced backlash at work, clients pulling out citing controversy. Job security waned, financial stress mounting. Is this the price? She asked Andrea. Yes, but we're paying it together, Andrea replied. Their bond deepened amid adversity, but exhaustion crept in. A turning point came during a support rally for LGBTQ rights in Chicago. Surrounded by stories of triumph and tragedy, Anastasia spoke impromptu. Family rejection hurts, but chosen family heals. Applause echoed, empowering her. Andrea beamed proudly, their hands linked. Yet home brought reality. Her mother, defeated in court, sent a letter. I miss my daughter. No apology, but a crack in the armor. Anastasia debated responding. Forgive and risk more hurt, or protect her peace. The internal conflict peaked one night. What if I reach out? She mused aloud. Andrea cautioned. Only if you're ready. The decision weighed heavy, a moral crossroads. Months later, as spring bloomed, they hosted a small gathering, friends who had stood by them. Laughter filled the house, a contrast to the isolation. But whispers of her mother's loneliness reached her via cousins. Guilt gnawed. Was ignoring her cruel? Andrea proposed a neutral meeting. Test the waters. Anastasia agreed, heart in throat. At a coffee shop, her mother appeared frail, eyes downcast. I don't understand, but I want to try, she said. Skepticism warred with hope in Anastasia's chest. The conversation was halting, revelations tentative. Her mother admitted fears of societal judgment, her own upbringing scars. Anastasia shared her pain. You tore me from the only person who accepted me. Tears flowed, a tentative bridge forming. But trust was fragile. Andrea waited outside, supportive yet wary. Driving home, Anastasia reflected. Was this reconciliation or manipulation? The path ahead uncertain, but for the first time, optimism flickered. The fragile truce with her mother held for weeks, coffee meetings evolving into cautious dinners. Anastasia approached each with guarded hope. Could years of hurt be mended? Her mother avoided direct mentions of Andrea at first, focusing on neutral topics like work and weather. But tension simmered beneath, waiting to boil. Andrea supported from afar, but resentment built. She's had years to change, Andrea pointed out after one meeting. Anastasia defended. People can grow. The disagreement sparked arguments, revealing fissures. Internally, Anastasia questioned. Am I compromising too much for family harmony? Society's gaze intensified post-court victory. Interviews requests poured in, their story a symbol for queer rights. Anastasia declined most, but one podcast appearance shared their journey. Listeners responded variably, supportive messages mingled with hate mail. The exposure exhausted her. Why must our love be a battleground? At work, a promotion came, affirming her talent despite the drama. But colleagues' congratulations felt hollow, some laced with pity. Andrea's school faced scrutiny too, a parent petition demanding her reassignment. Association with controversy, it claimed. Andrea fought back, union backing her. But the stress strained their relationship. One evening, the strain snapped. You're prioritizing your mother over us. Andrea accused. Anastasia recoiled. I'm trying to heal. Words escalated, doors slammed. Alone in the guest room. Anastasia's thoughts tormented. Is love enough when the world conspires against it? Reconciliation attempts followed, apologies exchanged. They recommitted, planning a weekend getaway to recharge. In the mountains away from judgment, they reconnected. Hikes, talks by the fire. We'll weather this, Andrea vowed. Anastasia believed her, but doubts lingered. Returning, reality hit. Her mother invited them both to a family event, a cousin's wedding. It's a step, she said. Anastasia hesitated. Expose Andrea to potential hostility? Andrea insisted. We face it together. The wedding was a minefield. Relatives stared, murmurs audible. Her mother introduced Andrea awkwardly as Anastasia's friend. The slight stung, but Anastasia corrected. Partner. Awkward silence ensued, but no explosions. During the reception, a drunk aunt confronted. This is a holy union. Your kind doesn't belong. Andrea's eyes flashed, but Anastasia pulled her away. Not worth it. Driving home, they debriefed. Progress. Andrea asked sarcastically. Anastasia sighed. Baby steps. Internally, she weighed the cost. Each interaction chipped at her dignity. Then a shocking revelation. Sorting Eleanor's papers, Anastasia found documents hinting at her mother's own past. A youthful romance with a woman, suppressed. She was like me, Anastasia realized, stunned. Confronting her mother. Why hide this? Her mother broke down. It destroyed me. I didn't want that for you. The admission shifted everything. Empathy flooded Anastasia. Her mother's rejection was projection, fear disguised as protection. You could have chosen differently, Anastasia said softly. The conversation turned healing, walls crumbling. But betrayal followed. Her mother, in vulnerability, asked Anastasia to tone it down for family's sake. Don't rub it in. The request felt like regression. Anastasia refused. This is who I am. The argument reignited old wounds. Andrea, hearing, supported. You don't owe her compromise. Their unity strengthened. But the family dynamic fractured anew. Cousins took sides, some reaching out supportively, others ghosting. As the Wills year ended, Anastasia faced the final decision. Keep the house or sell. It symbolized roots versus freedom. It's ours now, Andrea said. They chose to stay, honoring Eleanor. Life stabilized somewhat. Therapy continued, progressed slow but steady. Anastasia's art flourished, exhibitions showcasing pieces inspired by their struggles. Andrea published an article on inclusive education, turning pain into advocacy. Yet, challenges persisted. A health scare. Anastasia's mother hospitalized with stress-related issues. Visiting, Anastasia felt duty-bound. I love you, her mother whispered. The moment was poignant, but questions remained. True change or circumstance? Post-recovery, interactions improved. Her mother met Andrea properly, conversations civil. I see how happy she makes you, she admitted reluctantly. Anastasia's heart swelled, but caution prevailed. Society's evolution helped. Local laws advancing queer rights, community events fostering acceptance. Anastasia and Andrea volunteered, giving back. Their story inspired others, letters from young lesbians sharing similar battles. But internal scars lingered. Anastasia often wondered, "Have I forgiven too easily?" Andrea echoed, "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting." A pivotal moment came at a family holiday. All gathered, tensions high. Her mother raised a toast to understanding. It felt genuine, tears in her eyes. Anastasia responded, "To love in all forms." Applause followed, a tentative unity. As the evening wound down, Andrea pulled Anastasia aside. "We're building something real." Hope bloomed, but realism tempered it. With the family thaw came unexpected alliances. A cousin, previously distant, confided her own bisexuality, seeking advice. Anastasia guided her, feeling purposeful. "You're not alone," she said, echoing Eleanor's wisdom. The ripple effect of their story spread, challenging entrenched views. But not all was smooth. Andrea's job pressures culminated in a formal complaint, forcing a transfer. "It's unfair," she vented. Anastasia comforted. "We'll adapt." The move meant longer commutes, straining time together. Internally, Anastasia blamed her family indirectly. Their drama fueled the fire. Therapy sessions delved deeper, uncovering Anastasia's abandonment fears. "Losing grandma, then it's too much," she told Andrea. Vulnerability strengthened them, but external judgments persisted. Online forums debated their story, some praising resilience, others condemning family destruction. Her mother's growth was inconsistent. One day accepting, the next slipping into old habits. "God doesn't approve," she'd say offhand. Anastasia challenged, "My God does." The back and forth exhausted, but persistence paid. A major conflict arose when Anastasia's mother suggested therapy for herself, to understand better. Skeptical, Anastasia encouraged it. Sessions revealed her mother's internalized homophobia, rooted in generational trauma. Progress reports came. "I'm trying." Andrea remained wary. Actions over words. Their relationship tested again when Andrea reconnected with an ex, platonically, but jealousy flared. "Do you miss that simplicity?" Anastasia accused. Andrea reassured. "You're my choice." The incident highlighted insecurities, mended through honest dialogue. As summer approached, they planned a commitment ceremony, small, symbolic. Inviting family was risky. Her mother attended teary-eyed. "I'm proud," she whispered. The moment was cathartic, vows exchanged amid love. But post-ceremony, a relative's snide remark sparked drama. "This isn't real marriage." Andrea snapped back, Anastasia mediating. The night ended strained, questioning inclusion's worth. Reflection followed. Anastasia journaled. "Have we won or just survived?" Society's acceptance grew, but personal costs mounted. Lost friends, emotional toll. A final twist. Her mother gifted them a family heirloom, symbolizing inclusion. Eleanor would want this. Tears flowed, a circle closing. Yet doubts lingered. Andrea pondered relocation again. Fresh start? Anastasia hesitated. Leave the house, the memories? The decision loomed, moral implications heavy. In the end they stayed, roots deepening. Life normalized, work, friends, advocacy. Anastasia's mother visited regularly, bonds mending slowly. The journey taught harsh lessons. Love demands sacrifice. Family evolves or breaks, society shifts but resists. Was Anastasia right to prioritize her truth over familial peace? Or did her choices deepen unnecessary wounds? With the family thaw came unexpected alliances. A cousin, previously distant, confided her own bisexuality, seeking advice. Anastasia guided her, feeling purposeful. "You're not alone," she said, echoing Eleanor's wisdom. The ripple effect of their story spread, challenging entrenched views. Friends who had drifted returned, apologetic for their silence. "We were wrong," one admitted. Anastasia forgave, but scars remained. But not all was smooth. Andrea's job pressures culminated in a formal complaint, forcing a transfer. "It's unfair," she vented, slamming cabinets in frustration. Anastasia comforted, holding her as she cried. "We'll adapt," she promised, though uncertainty gnawed. Internally, Anastasia blamed her family indirectly. Their drama fueled the fire, igniting workplace bias. Therapy sessions delved deeper, uncovering Anastasia's abandonment fears. Losing grandma, then almost losing you. It's too much, she told Andrea during a late-night talk. Vulnerability strengthened them, tears turning into laughter as they reminisced. But external judgments persisted. Online forums debated their story, some praising resilience as inspirational, others condemning it as family destruction and selfish. Her mother's growth was inconsistent. One day accepting, sharing stories of her youth, the next slipping into old habits with comments like, "God doesn't approve of that lifestyle." Anastasia challenged gently but firmly, "My God approves of love." The back and forth exhausted her, nights spent pondering, is true change possible? Or am I chasing illusions? A major conflict arose when Anastasia's mother suggested therapy for herself. To understand better, she said over lunch. Skeptical at first, Anastasia encouraged it, hoping for authenticity. Sessions revealed her mother's internalized homophobia, rooted in generational trauma from a strict household. Progress reports came via calls. "I'm learning, Anna. It's hard." Empathy grew but trust built slowly. Andrea remained wary, her patience thinning. "Actions over words," she reminded Anastasia after a particularly trying visit. Their relationship tested again when Andrea reconnected with an ex-girlfriend, platonically for coffee. Jealousy flared in Anastasia. "Do you miss that simplicity without all this drama?" she accused, voice rising. Andrea reassured, pulling her close. "You're my choice, my everything." The incident highlighted insecurities, mended through honest dialogue and renewed commitments. As summer approached, they planned a commitment ceremony, small intimate in Eleanor's garden. Inviting family was risky, debates ensuing. "If they can't celebrate us, they don't come," Andrea insisted. Anastasia agreed, sending selective invites. Her mother RSVP'd yes, a milestone. The ceremony was beautiful, vows exchanged under blooming arches. "Through storms and sun, I choose you," Anastasia said, eyes locked on Andrea. Guests applauded, her mother teary-eyed in the front row. "I'm proud of you," she whispered later, hugging them both. The moment was cathartic, a blend of joy and relief. But post-ceremony, a relative's snide remark at the reception sparked drama. "This isn't a real marriage in God's eyes," an uncle muttered loudly. Andrea snapped back. "It's real in ours." Anastasia mediated, pulling them apart. "Not today." The night ended strained, guests leaving early, leaving Anastasia questioning inclusion's worth. Did inviting them validate their bias? Reflection followed in the quiet days after. Anastasia journaled extensively. Have we won the battle for acceptance, or just survived the war? Society's acceptance grew incrementally. Local laws advancing queer rights, pride events larger than ever. But personal costs mounted. Lost friends who couldn't evolve, the emotional toll of constant vigilance. A final twist came during a family dinner months later. Her mother gifted them a cherished heirloom necklace, once Eleanor's. "She would want you to have this," she said, voice trembling. Tears flowed as Anastasia fastened it around her neck, a circle closing symbolically. "Thank you," she replied, hugging her mother tightly. Yet, doubts lingered in quiet moments. Andrea pondered relocation again, a job offer in Seattle tempting. Fresh start, less history. Anastasia hesitated. Leave the house, the memories, the hard-won ground? The decision loomed large, moral implications heavy. Honor Eleanor's legacy or forge a new path? After sleepless nights and tearful discussions, they chose to stay, roots deepening in Chicago's soil. Life normalized gradually, steady work, a circle of true friends, ongoing advocacy work. Anastasia's mother visited regularly, bonds mending slowly, conversations deepening beyond surface. The journey taught harsh, invaluable lessons. Love demands sacrifice. Family can evolve or irreparably break. Society shifts but often resists fiercely. Through it all, Anastasia and Andrea's bond endured, a testament to resilience amid chaos. Was Anastasia right to prioritize her authentic self over the illusion of familial peace? Or did her unyielding choices deepen wounds that might have healed with compromise?